All right, so I'm here to talk to you about just kind of some simple presentation things that you can do to make your presentations look just a little bit better. And so I'm just going to talk here about just very simple color, font, sizes, like those kind of things that can help you out here. Okay, so I'm just going to start with the number one kind of pet peeve that I have, which is the background. Um, on Google Slides, on Canva, wherever you're doing it from, the background, you can change it to be whatever color, whatever image, whatever thing you want. And I'm here to tell you that I would say there's a 98% chance that you never need to put a photo in your background. I've seen you guys and girls, I see a lot of students do this. So I'm not just calling y'all's out, okay? I see a lot of times where, and I saw where your flag ones, that you put a flag in the background. And then what happens is you're trying to find a font that kind of goes with it, and nothing really does because you got to make your font bigger and you have to, do those kind of things, and it just doesn't look great. And so here is my advice for you: do a simple solid color, okay? Um, you can do gradient, but gradient's very old school, I would say at this point. That's very Microsoft PowerPoint from 20 years ago. Um, but you can do it, obviously. Okay? Find a color that goes with your presentation. So if you're doing a country, do some of their colors in their flag. Chances are their colors are probably going to match up pretty well together. And if they don't, then that's probably not a good flag. Then, I mean, to be fair, I mean, red, white, and blue goes very well together for America, and you can kind of make those match up however you want to. Okay, my my train of thought with this is I usually try to do the background as the lighter of the colors because I want that font color to pop out, and I want the photos to pop out, and it's a little bit tougher to do. It's not bad. It's not wrong to go the opposite way. But in this case, and I'm just kind of showing you this here. This one pops, and honestly, I mean, just kind of, I'm going to my announcements ones here, and I mean, the red and the white looks pretty well together as well. I mean, so it's not wrong per se. I would just, for a background, I would make the background a little bit lighter and then go a little bit darker on top of that. To me, that makes a little bit more sense. So you're on this page, and so you're like, but I really want to use a photo of something. Okay, so what you can do instead is make that photo smaller and place it like right here and like right here. Make them smaller, make them accents for that title screen, okay? I'm seeing a lot of backgrounds that don't really go with your presentation. They look cool, but it's like swirlies and it's, other things and it's okay for a title page, but but if you're struggling to find a font to go along with it and it doesn't look good, and if you project it like I'm doing right here and it's very hard to see some of the words on it, then don't use that one. Or if you're using Google Slides, what you can do is, here, let me grab this photo here. Okay, let me bring it up here. So let's say first of all, so don't do it as a background. Put it down as an image. Make it the entire screen. And then what you're going to do is you are going to click on Format Options. And you're going to come down here to Adjustments. And you see where it says Transparency? You're going to take that and you're going to move it over. Because then it goes a little bit more transparent. And then what you can do, kind of like what I did with this one right here, because I'm breaking my own rule, but this is more for an announcement and not a presentation per se. What I did here was I took the fill for this one and I made a custom one where then you can make it more transparent so that way you can kind of see through it as well. And so that's kind of a workaround. It's a little bit tougher to do. But that would be my recommendation. And then what you can do then is click on arrange, order, send back, and it's on top now. But now, as you can see, like even still, like the E is falling into that purple area, and I mean it looks good on the yellow, it looks good on the green. Doesn't look great on the pink. Looks pretty decent on the faded black now, and it looks good on the white one. So, you know, that's what you would do there. And what you can do is, you know, do a custom one here. And I'll just do that one real quick, and so that way you can see a little bit better. That was not a good choice, and that photo's not a good choice either. But you know what I mean, okay? So, but when in doubt, just do a light color, do a dark font. That'll help you out, okay? Also, make it kind of go on every slide so that way you can, it looks like it's one presentation, okay? All right, titles. I like them centered. If you want to move back over to the left, go for it. It's your presentation. Do it how you want to, as long as you're consistent. Don't do this slide like this and then this slide, you know, back over to the left. That looks like you didn't put a lot of time into the presentation part of it. And you want to make it look like you put a lot of time into it, okay? So, a couple things on this one. Um, Scientifically, your eye usually looks to the right first. That's usually the first place it goes. And so that's where you want to put your most pertinent, important thing, or your most eye attracting thing, which is usually your photo or photos. Okay. So I would put your photo or photos over here. Remember that this is going to be projected. Okay, so they got to be able to see it from far away. So I wouldn't, you know, I would probably only do one photo and make it as big as you can go, with it still matching up to the other side. Right now, as you can see, it kind of doesn't. There's a little kind of dead space right here. And so make it kind of fit with that, and in that way it looks kind of even, okay? Let's talk about this side here real quick. So each bullet point should be less than 6 words. It's the 6x6 rule. It's not always, you know, a thing, but general rule of thumb, okay? Bullet points are good. These are arrows. If you'd rather come up here and do dots or do whatever else, go for it. I like the arrows, so I use arrows, okay? Very little dead space, and this is what I'm talking about here, okay? So right now, I have all this room down here on this slide as soon to get rid of everything else. Okay? I mean, there is some dead space over here and over here. You want as little of that as possible. And so, as you can see here, these are spaced out just a little bit. It's not too over the top where you kind of notice it. And the font is a little bit bigger than what you guys normally do. So this came automatically at 18. So if I do that, then that's what it looks like. And one, your audience can't read that. And two, look at all this dead space. As a yearbook person, that would always drive me insane that there was all this dead space on there. So make your fonts, you know, I would say at least 32. And that's actually a good general rule. 32 font for text. Okay? Make this one just a little bit bigger. This one's at 46. Okay? And then what this does is I have 5 bullet points there. And then I can make this a little bit bigger and make it kind of match up. So now on this slide there's very little dead space, okay? A good tool over here for photos, if you're cropping, if you want to crop a photo, double tap on it. Notice how this photo was actually bigger to start with. If I only want this part of it, then you take these arrows and then you drag it to wherever you want it to go. Let's put it back where it was, and then yeah, okay? So those are just some general rules of thumb for that. Get rid of all that dead space. Make sure everything is capitalized at the beginning. Make sure, you know, And I don't know why I capitalized the word text here. You know, that's something that would stick out. If you're going to do a period here, do a period here, do a period here, do a period there. If you're doing bullet points, you don't need periods though. I would leave them out. Okay? Now, let's say you have 2 photos here. So, first thing you're going to do is you're going to try to make them as big as you can. And a general rule of thumb is you try to make the photos the same size. Okay. And then notice over here how this one's a little bit smaller than this one. So I'm going to move over just a little bit. You can kind of eyeball it and see if it's good. And that kind of leaves a little bit less dead space. There's a little bit there, but you're separating 2 photos. It's okay. Now, one of my pet peeves is when it looks like this. And you're probably thinking to yourself, that doesn't look that bad. If I drag this over all the way, they're not lined up. And I hate that with a fiery passion. So there's a couple ways to try to fix that, okay? Well, and it looks unprofessional if you do it that way too, okay? So if you notice there's a red line. I just pointed out on my screen. I don't know why I did that. But there's a red line. If you find that, chances are it's going to be on the same level. And you're good that way, okay? Here's the one that no one ever realizes, okay? If you come up here to format options, you got all these different ones. I already showed you adjustment. Size and rotation. This is going to tell you how wide it is and how tall it is. And if I look here, they are the same width, same height. If this one was kind of wonky like that, what I can do is, okay, 4.04, 4.28, 4.04, 4.28. And now they're the same, okay? Position. So let's say this one's way up here, this one's down here, okay? So I'm looking at the X and I'm looking at the Y. X is the X one, which is going up and down. Y is going across here. So this Y is at 1.2. This Y is at 0.48. So I said 1.2, and now they are evenly lined up again. And that's just a little kind of trick that you can use to make sure that your photos are lined up. You can do the same thing over here with text. So 1.26, 1.35. So let's change that to 1.26. Sometimes it's hard to do with words and text because, as you can see here, there's a little bit of extra space up there. And so you might have to kind of eyeball it just a little bit. Usually I try making the same, at least, close to the same. And that looks a little bit better. Maybe just down just a little bit. Okay? And so, yeah, those are just some of my very simple tips and tricks that you can use for this. These will also work in Canva. And so, again, don't get too fancy with it. It's a presentation. This part is supposed to be the focal point, not the background, not the font colors, not the font, styles. It is supposed to be the photos or the videos or the audio and your writing and what you have to say. Okay? If you have any questions about this, email me, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. All right, thanks.